What's good, YouTube? Crown Jewel from Crown Jewel Boxing, back with a gem. I want to do a quick video in response to big fight night in Atlantic City last night. Uh, Unification between Jaron Boots Ennis and Emmantis Stanionis, basically for 147-pound supremacy, number one against number two. There's no doubt who's number one at welterweight right now. But I want to talk about some of the undercard fights. First, very exciting to me, especially for Jersey and Philly boxing. Some of you may wonder why I consider Philly local boxing as well. But those in boxing know that there's something called the Mid-Atlantic Boxing Association. It's the amateur boxing association that us in South Jersey come up with along with Philly fighters. So we kind of all come up together, which is why I consider a lot of those guys still home when they come here. A lot of me coming up, a lot of our amateur fights, or mostly all of our amateur fights, are up there going through Philly, and a lot of their pro fights end up being down here in Atlantic City. So it's kind of, one group thanks to the Mid-Atlantic. So with that being said, the card started out with a very local Pleasantville talent. They announced him from Atlantic City, but he's from Pleasantville. Francisco Cisco Rodriguez, very humble, great kid. I got to watch come up, very talented. 7-0, 7 knockouts now. Also participates in TCL, Team Philly Smoke again. Us and Philly are, very closely linked when it comes to boxing. So there you go, a kid from Pleasantville that's on Philly Smoke. Cisco, biggest moment, probably toughest opponent to date on a big stage in a big arena. If you're from around here, Boardwalk Hall is like the holy grail of boxing for us. And he got his chance on the big stage, like I said, in a big arena. And he made a splash. He fought against Camden's, a guy from Camden, I forget his name. Pardon me. I think he was coming off a couple-year layoff. And especially pardon me to my guy, manager Marty, because I know that was your guy. And I ran into Marty last night, too. Always a pleasure to see you, brother. We got to chop it up, like-minded boxing guys who, talk sensibly. I always like running into those type of guys. So shout out to you, Marty. But Cisco, a guy that I like a whole lot. His entire family's vested in his career. You will see his father holding pads for him. His brother, who started out working with him in my estimation from what I've seen during COVID when a lot of the boxing gyms were closed. We were all in the same weightlifting gym at that time. Attilis and EHT getting it in, and I saw his brother in there pretty much every day with him, sometimes twice a day. And I kind of, said to him, you might as well go ahead, and step into a more active role, as far as training your brother, because you're the one in there day in and day out working with him. And, not saying that's the reason, but last night was the first time I seen his brother Frankie as the head trainer in this corner. Cisco looked sharp, worked behind his jab, was disciplined, got hit very little, and just was, disciplined to use all of his physical advantages to get rid of his opponent. The opponent didn't come out for the third round, I think. So, again, hats off to Cisco. Remarkable performance for a young fighter on a big stage. Hats off to you. Great young man, great fighter and even better young man. I look forward to continuing to see your growth. Another Jersey fighter, Zaquin Moses, the younger cousin of Shakur Stevenson, had a storied amateur fight with Kermel Moulton where he upset Kermel. Was in his third professional fight. He came in 2-0, 1 knockout. For the unusually tall guy, for 30-pound fighter, that young man, the opponent's name escapes me as well, but he was 5'11". Zaquin was in control throughout, patient, worked behind his jab, picked his shots, looked like a seasoned pro, ended up stopping him with a really big shot up top. The opponent took a knee, didn't get back up. Tamir Smalls out of Philly. I think he's trained by Coach L, who works with Boots, as well as Boots' brother, Boots Ennis. Had like a 30-second first-round knockout. Not a whole lot you can say about that, but spectacular nonetheless. Electrifying, jaw-dropping. Again, a young fighter performing on a big stage for what I think, is probably his first time, and he shined. More Jersey. Ray Ford out of Camden, now based in Houston, conducts his camps with Shakur Stevenson and Zaquin Moses and all those guys out there. Had Boxing Rel, a very, very talented trainer out of Philadelphia in his corner. I got the corner with Boxing Rail early in his training, when I was in his career as a trainer, when I was working as an inspector for the New Jersey State Athletic Commission. And I told him he was in Samuel Tia's corner that night. And I told him that night, rest in peace, Samuel Tia, by the way. I thought he'd be one of the top trainers in boxing in the near future. And seeing him in camp with Shakur and Ray Ford and others, it's pretty much come to fruition. Hats off to them. There was some booing during that fight, which I don't understand. We're normally in this area a very educated boxing fan. And as an educated boxing fan, I know we all like knockouts, but Ray Ford won 100-90 over 10 rounds on all three scorecards, meaning not one judge gave his opponent another round. I think the opponent, even though walked forward, his style kind of reminded me a lot of Lamont Roach without the punching. He pressed forward behind a high guard. Even his mannerisms look a lot like Lamont, but none of the countering and really no punching. I think Ray Ford probably landed, and I'm not exaggerating when I say he landed, about 10 times as many shots as his opponent. Completely dominated. The guy was pretty seasoned, knew how to survive, had a pretty good chin, but was never really competitively in the fight. So hats off to Ray Ford. Savage, in my estimation, a very good performance. There was no doubt you're not always going to knock everybody out. I know a lot of us, including myself, love to see knockouts, but I didn't understand the displeasure of the fans unless they were just displeased with the opponent, who didn't put up much of a fight, but he got beat on for 10 rounds. So, hats off to Ray Ford. I think the Olympian's name, O'Hare Jones, excuse me if I'm messing his name up. Again, first round knockout, tremendous body punch. That seemed to be the theme of the night. A lot of these guys were going downstairs, including Cisco, and hurting their guys to the body. He stopped this guy with a body shot very early on. Like I said, not enough to see. Besides, he was too much for his opponent, but very well spoken, humble. Again, as the theme of the night, gave all glory to God. Seemed to be a really driven and centered young man. I was told about him prior to the Olympics by a good friend of mine that I started off my amateur boxing career with, Coach Lee Gladden. And Lee, he didn't disappoint. He came to your hometown. He showed out, and hats off to him. I look forward to seeing more of him in the future. Then, the main event. I can't say enough about Jaron Boots Ennis. Everybody that was hating on him is blasphemy at this point. He's the best 147-pound fighter in the world, hands down, bar none. He's a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter. I don't like the narrative that y'all tearing Stanionis down now because it was such a one-sided fight. He came in as the second best welterweight in the world. I believe he's still the second best welterweight in the world. Just the number 1 welterweight in the world. Is just that gifted. Boots used a brutal body attack, picked his spots, broke him down, and the fight was pretty much decided after 4 rounds. I think it was the 6th that Stanionis didn't come out for, or the 7th. I predicted an 8-round stoppage for Boots, so I wasn't really surprised. It happened a little earlier than I thought, but stop playing with that man. I was impressed with everything about Boots, too. He should give a class to young fighters on how to become a top fighter in boxing and be marketable, presentable, corporate friendly, because you don't hear him doing a whole lot of cussing, talking crazy. He doesn't overpromise and underdeliver. He doesn't disrespect his opponents. He just has a strong faith base, gives a whole lot of glory to his father, who's his trainer, has both of his older brothers working in his camp. Like, you can't say enough about this young man. Like I said, didn't do a whole lot of crazy talking, while very self-assured and supremely confident, never seems to be arrogant, very approachable, very hardworking. And like I said, you can't say enough about a guy like that who's extremely respectful, extremely gifted, and did his talking with his hands last night. He didn't say not one negative thing about Emmantis Stanionis. He made it known that he felt like he was going to win, and he did, and there's nothing wrong with that, but he never belittled or disrespected his opponent. They had a moment that they showed after the fight where he actually went and, wished him, safe trip home and congratulated him on his, incoming baby. Just class dude. And as happy as I am for Jaron Boots Ennis, I'm even happier for his father and trainer, Boots Ennis. I watch Mr. Bosey, and I'll say Mr. Bosey because he has sons that are my age or older, been in the boxing game a really long time. Um, it's just good to see someone that you watch come up through the club scene as a trainer, train both of his older fighters who were both very good fighters in their own right, um, make it to the big stage and have his son not be persuaded to leave him, not minimize him in any way, but give all the glory to his father. And they've really been a model for a father-son boxing team in professional boxing. Not only that, just a model for how a trainer should conduct himself as well as a fighter should conduct himself. I like that although Bosey does have a social media presence, he doesn't seem to seek it out. It's people like Mill from YSM Sports Media. He's, done interviews for my little channel in the past. You have to seek him out. And he understands that the fighter's the star. He doesn't try to outshine the fighter, although he has no problem checking the fighter, as we've heard him, voices the pleasure when he see Boots get hit. I can't say enough about them. Like I said, it's time for Bosey to get his due as one of the top trainers in the game, just as it's time for you guys to stop being blasphemous and anoint Jaron Boots Ennis a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter in the world and hands down the best welterweight in the world. Like I said, it's nothing to complain about. To you guys I see on the internet talking about he got hit too much, he got hit cleanly. I mean, look at the numbers. He did not get hit enough. I mean, he did get hit a whole lot. He's very defensively sound. Even some of the shots that he got hit with, he rolled with a lot of them, so they didn't hit him as clean as it looked. But I just think you guys are being way, way, way too picky. Emmantis Stanionis was an Olympic silver medalist, current world champion, and an undefeated professional world-class fighter. To think that someone is going to go into a unification bout against him and not get hit at all is ridiculous. It's boxing. You're going to get hit sometimes. But he responded well to being hit. He took those shots well, the times that he did get hit. And after getting hit with certain shots, he took it away, I think, early in the first round. He got hit with a couple right hands while being southpaw. He made the adjustment. He switched to orthodox and commenced to beating the hell out of Stanionis from the orthodox stance and breaking him down for the next few rounds. You didn't see southpaw stance too much more until Stanionis was able to land a couple shots while he was orthodox, which is, again, an immense gift he has. If you think you find something when he's in one stance, he can immediately take that away by being just as proficient, if not more proficient, in the other stance. So high praises to Jaron Boots Ennis. Legendary performance last night. Thank you for bringing big-time boxing back to Atlantic City. Eddie Hearn, while I don't agree with how he promotes some of his fighters, has done an amazing job with Jaron Boots Ennis. And I think because of Jaron's work ethic, the fact that he keeps his family around him, which keeps him grounded, reminded me a lot of, Cisco Rodriguez from here kind of has the same type of dynamic, reminds me a lot of what Jaron is doing. But I think he has the recipe to be very good for a very long time. And I applaud him. I can't do nothing but be happy for himself, Mr. Bosey, and his brothers. It's good to see good people win. That's it, you know what I mean? That's all I have for y'all right now. Until next time, keep your hands up, your chin down, your ass off the floor. Peace. Oh, yeah. One more thing. Brian Norman Sr. has been on all type of social media platforms the last 2 to 3 weeks talking about how he guaranteed Boots won't say his son's name after his fight once he's free. I know he was only saying that for clickbait because he wanted Boots to say his son's name because that's their major way of marketing and promoting themselves is by tying himself to Boots. Well, you got what you said you wanted. He told you your son is not that good. He told you he loved to fight you, and he said y'all don't want to fight. Offered you close to $2 million when you will fight for $100,000. I don't know if those are the exact numbers, but they seem pretty close. So I say, don't go try to fight Mario Barrios. Don't go try to swindle your way into another competition. You guys have talked about Boots and talked a big game for some time now. Make that unification bout. And I'm saying right here, right now, Jaron Boots Ennis, the Jaron Boots Ennis I seen last night, I thought this before, but I'm even more sure now. Stomps on Brian Norman Jr. The fight doesn't go past 4 rounds. Brian Norman Jr. is far too mechanical, far too slow, far too easy to hit. Yes, he has a big punch. He's not going to hit Boots with anything flush. And as evidence in his last fight, he doesn't respond that well to being hit on the chin himself by someone who does not punch like Boots punch. So let's make that other unification bout. Y'all talk the talk, now walk the walk. Brian Norman Jr. being dethroned very soon, if they're men of their word, by Jaron Boots Ennis, and he will have 3 of the 4 major belts in the welterweight division, bringing them back to this mid-Atlantic region. Again, I couldn't be more proud. Don't get quiet now, Brian Norman Sr. I saw you say something like it was ordinary and it was expected. Your son would have never, ever, ever walked through Emmantis Stanionis like that. I don't even think he would walk through Mario Barrios like that. And he wants no parts. Keep him as far as you can away from Jaron Boots Ennis if you love him. But as a fan, you talk too much. I don't want to see that. Put your money where your mouth is. Get your boy beat up. And I think that will be the end of your son competing at a world-class level, because the beating is going to be just that bad. Again, I know I already gave y'all my goodbye. My bad. I had to get that out because Norman Sr. has been talking crazy for a few months. But until next time, keep your hands up, your chin down, your ass off the floor. Peace.